All righty, we're gonna get the show going. What we're gonna do tonight is we're gonna tell these people about the old world and the Tartarias and the Mudfloods and the resets and all the architecture. Yeah, and we might maybe have a dog biscuit or two, and we're gonna explain to the people how all this might have gone down, how it happened. We're gonna show them things they ain't never seen. It's gonna blow their minds. That's what we're gonna do tonight. Is that a good plan? And we're gonna show them a special something something tonight. I think they're really gonna enjoy. But anyways, you ready to go live? Okay, here we go. One, two, three. Welcome to Muddin and BEAGS Live. This is episode 18. We are ready to rumble tonight. Okay. Hope everybody's doing well. And we'll go ahead and get rid of the pleasantries. Okie dokie, we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? Woo! So I was sitting around today and I was working on a little something for tonight's show, and then I remembered, oh, I need to go take care of a little business outside. And we have a well pump here, and on the well pump, it's got a filter, and on the filter we have a hand dug well, and this hand dug well, from time to time, when it rains, the the dirt will get down into the water and muddy the water, and then the pump will suck it up, and then it goes through a filter, and the filter has a filter. This filter container has a filter in it, and the water goes through, and the filter catches the sediment, which works great for a good period of time. It's probably been a couple months since I've had to change it, but from time to time I have to go out there and change it. And this week it started getting foggy, and I needed to go out there and change it. Which ain't a big deal. So I walked out there and lifted up the pump house top, and I looked in looking for spiders, because there's a lot of times there's spiders in there, and we have black widows around here, so you want to be careful where you reach. And then I walked around the other side, and I looked on the other side, and I put up the little prop that holds it up. And I walked back around. I reached down in 2 feet down into this pump house, and I grabbed the wrench, which is like a round wrench thing that has a handle on it. It's a plastic piece that you put around the filter, and you yank it, and it twists it off. And as I was coming back up, I turned my head as I was coming back up, and about a foot away from my head was about a 2-foot rat snake. So I pissed myself, and once I got my composure back, I went to go get a tool to get rid of him. Because he was sitting on top of this electrical box, and I couldn't get him. He was wrapped around it, so I was going to wrangle him out of there. And so I went to go get this tool, and by the time I got back, some bitch had run on me, and I couldn't find him. So anyways, I changed out the filter, and I figured out how he's getting in. I can fix it, no problem. I just didn't. The top has gotten a warp over time, and it created a little gap, and they can get in a half inch. So anyways, that was interesting. So anyways, hey 6R, how you doing? Hello, Miss Teresa Gregory, and I saw Hippie a minute ago, and I hope you all are doing well tonight. We're gonna do a little something different tonight. I think you guys will enjoy. I hope you enjoy. And to start off, I want to say that when we talk about the early, the middle 1800s and early 1900s area where we look at these buildings. It's very interesting to me how difficult things were back then. That's something I go into a lot of looking into. I do a lot of research on bricks. I've got 3 brick documentaries that I think we're going to do movie night with. I'll probably do 3 movie nights, maybe 2. They're, I think 2 of them are an hour long and one of them's 30 minutes long, maybe a little bit longer. I'm not sure. But anyways, do some looking at some brick making, old world, old time brick making, firing of bricks. And but anyways, hey Beagle, let me give you a cookie so you leave me alone. Quit attacking me, because I'm basically busy. Here, come get it. Say hello to your people. Say hello to your pup. Come on. I know you want to get it, you nut. All right, now piss off. Okay, so imagine, we talk about all the time the horse and the cart and how Fred pulls the bricks in, and how hard that is. But I don't think we really, truly comprehend that, because we ride in cars. We're mobile. We got trucks and planes and boats and trains and cranes and all kinds of crazy shit, right? But I don't think I know that I've never done it. I imagine a lot of you have never done it, but some of you may have done the sort of thing, is where you take a horse and a cart and you load it up with stuff and you move things. That's one thing. That's hard enough, because you got to get the materials onto the cart. Let's just say you're getting bricks. You got to get the bricks onto the cart. Now, back then they didn't have forklifts. They might have had a crane available, but in all truthfulness, they probably hand loaded the cart. But let's just say they got it onto the cart somehow, some way. Well, then you've got to travel with this cart down roads that a lot of times were not paved. They didn't have cobblestone brick roads, or they didn't have any kind of good roads. They were running through really bad mud roads, and if it was raining, it was even worse. So that adds to it. But that's not even the beginning. With a horse, it takes time to connect the horse to the cart. That's a job. You got to put on all this hardware reins and all this crap, and you got to hook the cart up to it, pull the cart in. You got to get the cart out of storage. Okay, you got to feed this horse. Means you got to go get feed. You got to get from the feed store, or you got to even grow the feed. I don't even know how you get your feed. Then you got to water the horse. Where are you getting the water from? You got to haul the water in. Okay, you got to have a place for the horse to stay at night. A shelter. The horse has to rest. You can't run a horse like a car. You can't just fill it up with food and it goes again. No. They have to have downtime. It's a horse. What my point is that when we discuss the way they did things back in the day, I don't think we really understand how hard it was to do things. I think that we are so lazy today in the way we can accomplish things that we just don't have a comprehension of that. Like, if I wanted bricks today, okay, I could take let's say a pickup truck, and I could drive up the road to the hardware store. I could say I want that pallet of bricks. They go get a forklift, they pick it up, they drive it out to the truck, they put it on the truck. I drive to wherever the job site was. We have a forklift pick it off the truck, and then you don't have to you put gas in the truck. I mean, what have you done? I mean, you probably had time to go grab lunch, and it's really no big deal to go get some brick. But if I had a horse and had to do it with horse and cart, it'd be a whole different thing. That being said, many times on this show, I have told y'all about this video about how hard it is to wash a lady's dress back in the day. And tonight, I'm just going to show you the damn video. So I want you to kick back and relax, and we're going to let this lady show you how fucking hard it was to wash a lady's dress in the early 1900s. Enjoy.
The machine, I maintain, is one of the most significant inventions in human history, and if there is one single reason why I would not want to time travel back in time and live in a different time period, aside from the very obvious factors of modern medicine and like basic human rights, it would be to avoid laundry day. How did they wash this historically? This question was all the more pertinent on my mind after completing my recent Edwardian lingerie gown project, which of course culminated in frolicking in fields outside in this long white dress, and the hem most certainly has things to say about that. While theoretically, yes, this is a garment that you can just toss in the washing machine these days, and we have these fancy delicate hand wash cycles which won't damage the lace, theoretically, where would be the fun in that? Because obviously these garments existed historically, so therefore they must have been washed historically. And how was that done? Fortunately, we are blessed in our modern era of digital online archives. We have copious amounts of digitized home manuals and domestic guides that instruct in the art of laundry, and these survive to us today for our own perusal and now experimentation. This Edwardian period is, of course, pre the era of washing machines. So before we had the glorious benefit of just being able to toss our things in the wash and go on with our days, laundry day actually required essentially planning your entire day around the washing, because it was so time consuming. It required so many supplies and logistics and labor and potentially the use of your stovetop, which means cooking and meal adaptation in order to accommodate for all of this. It was a whole to-do. It was up to the individual person to look at the stain, to look at the garment, to assess the fabrics and the dirt quality on the garments, and then tweak the laundry process according to what needed to be washed. One of the sources that I consulted from 1907 specifically, I think it was about 27 pages just of laundering instruction. And this, of course, addresses the basic laundry cycle, goes into all the various different types of stain removal, because each type of stain has different removal tactics, as well as taking into account the specific concessions that need to be made for these light lingerie, lightweight summer dresses, as well as adding in the additional stain removal properties to specifically tackle the grass and mud stains on the hem of this gown. I have put together what I think is a pretty reasonable method of how the everyday household middle-class Edwardian who has a gown like this and would need it to be washed would have consulted this book and proceeded to launder this garment. Let's see if this actually works. So this chapter also begins by instructing the necessary preparations that need to be made to prepare for laundry day, which of course will take out a significant portion of your working day. So it specifically advises not to bake or cook more than necessary on washing days. Have 2 or 3 staple dishes prepared so that they can be heated and set on quickly. This is advising pre-cooking meals because you will need all your strength for the hard day's work, which is absolutely a factor that will need to be taken into account. Obviously, you don't want to step away from your hard, sweaty laundry to then go and cook a meal. But more practically, for people who didn't have a separate laundry room and were potentially using their stovetops to heat up water to then use for laundering, you don't have stove space to cook things. First and foremost, this chapter goes through the essentials needed for washing, which is actually kind of amazing that we get this, because a lot of these essential items, or basics, if you will, are just sort of in the period they are taken to be a given, as in you would understand this for yourself, so there's no need to write it down. Unfortunately, these conveniences, which are supposedly within the reach of nearly all, are no longer in the reach of nearly all. A good stove of some kind, a washboard, a large wash boiler, a first-class wringer, definitely don't have one of those, 2 stationary tubs. I have 1 stationary bathtub, and I have a very large pot. So we begin our laundry routine actually the evening before laundry day for multiple reasons. Before, theoretically, these get submerged into water. This is specific to laundering thin summer dresses. Remove all ribbons or velvet garniture. This is for 2 reasons. Firstly, because these ribbons or velvet, well, velvets especially, but ribbons were generally made of silk, and silk doesn't do so well in the water. It can either stain if it's not submerged completely, but the other more pertinent issue with this is that if they're dyed colors, and especially with my specific Mary Poppins dress with the bright red ribbons on the white cotton, there is the risk, especially historically, of having the colors bleed onto the fabric, which you don't want. In my case, these ribbons have just been tacked on very lightly, so I can just clip them off and then just again tack them on very quickly later. This first part I'm doing in the bathroom because it involves soaking, and this is the best place I have to soak things. Do not put stained clothes into soapy water, for the soap will set the stains. So before we can do our first initial soaking stage, which is what this wants us to do the night before, we also have to do the stain removal the night before. Now, each stain has different components for removing. So grass stains, mud stains, blood stains, ink stains, food stains, they all have different categories and different methods for removal. I have inspected my garment, and it looks like we have mud stains only that we're dealing with. Consulting our specific instructions for mud stains, it looks like I'm going to go ahead and soak this first in oxalic acid water for a few minutes. Here goes. Now, here is the catch, is that they didn't exactly tell us how much water and how much oxalic acid to use. This is apparently harmful in contact with the skin, so maybe don't touch this. We are instructed now to wait and let this soak for a couple of minutes. So while we do this, why don't we head back to the kitchen where we have another little task to complete for tomorrow. Before we get started with the actual laundering of the dress, there's one thing that I have to do first, and that is I have to make erasive compound or soap for cleaning clothes. This is specifically a laundry soap, which is very simple. It's really just 1 ounce of Castile soap mixed with 1/4 a pound of sal soda, which still exists today. It is this sodium carbonate decahydrate, biodegradable apparently. It's known today as washing soda, soda crystals, so these are still very purchasable today. I have to sort of mix these together and make them into a soap. Boil the soap. I'm assuming they mean the Castile soap, not the washing soap that doesn't exist yet. It doesn't tell us how much water to use, so I'm kind of just winging this. Oh, I should have cut this up into smaller pieces. Oh no. So into this mixture, we're going to add 1/4 of a pound of this washing soda. Pour into a square pan or box to cool, which I don't have, so we're going to pour this into a round glass dish. Chunky. Okay, so now that we have our soap getting set overnight, we have to get the dress setting overnight. Okay, so we have returned. It looks like we still have got a bit of mud on the hem, rinsed in clear water. So we're going to rinse this out and then go in with the ammonia and see if that does anything. There was quite a bit of mud and dust residue at the bottom of the tub, which I think is a good sign. However, there's also still an absolute ton of mud residue still in the hem, which is not what we're going for. So the next stage of this process is to soak this in ammonia water. So I'm going to do the same thing, fill this up slightly with some water, and then pour in some amount of ammonia, which we don't actually know, again, how much. I dislike this stuff. So I'm going to leave this to sit again for another few minutes, and then we'll come back and check on it and see if we have any progress. So post ammonia bath and post second rinse, it definitely looks better, but it's still not completely perfect. This can be the result of a few possible issues. The first is that we have no quantities for how much of these chemicals we're supposed to be putting in, so it's also entirely possible that this is not 100% mud on this hem. I have in the past had muddy hems on garments, thrown them in the washing machine, pull them out, and they're completely yellow because there was ochre or something in the mud that completely dyed the entire garment yellow. Let's go ahead and put this into the evening soaking stage and see if overnight any of that loosens up any further. So what needs to happen now for this stage is this needs to sit in just effectively some soapy water overnight. Sal soda may be used in place of the soap, which is good because our soap isn't exactly quite ready yet. Once again, we are given no quantities for how much sal soda we're supposed to put in here, so I've kind of just made it up and I've kind of just put in, I think, about 4 scoops of it. So I suppose now we just leave this in overnight. This water is warm and soapy. I guess we'll just leave this here and we'll see how we get on for tomorrow. I'm going to bed. Good morning. It is about 7:30. It is washing day. It's time to now move our dress from its soaking bath into proper washing processes. Begin the washing early in the morning and plan to get it out before the sun is high and the day is hot. Presumably this is so that it dries as quickly as possible in the heat. However, this process is a little bit altered for these summer dresses, but we'll get to that in a bit. Nevertheless, we're starting early because presumably we also have copious other articles of clothing to wash on washing day and not just the summer dress. We have to prepare our boiling bath. We're not actually boiling the clothes, by the way. I should disclaim that. In fact, it literally says quite clearly, do not boil the clothes. So we're only trying to get to a warm washing bath here. We need to, well, build the fire and put it on the boiler. We cannot actually lawfully have fires in our places in London. In the absence of fire, we're using an electric hob, which is not historically accurate, but cut into slices about 2/3 of a bar of soap, which is what we made last night. So we need 2/3 approximately. Is that about 2/3? This is why they want you to do it in a square jar, because round is difficult. Ooh, it's like pasty. I'm assuming that will dissolve a bit more when it gets warmer. We hope. Together with a lump of sal soda about the size of a hen's egg. So the instructions specifically for laundering thin summer dresses state that we are not to use soap or hot water. Instead of the soap, it instructs us to, for every gallon of water, add a half pint of gasoline. This portion of the experiment was very unfortunately vetoed by my resident chemist, who cautioned that I might in fact blow up my entire building doing that, so we're not going to do that. These instructions, of course, were done in the days prior to electricity. Theoretically, it might have been slightly safer to do this back then, but probably not a whole lot. In fact, it does say later on, always remember to exercise great care when using gasoline freely. Yeah, that would be a good idea. This, with the soap, without the gasoline, is the standard washing process for standard laundering. The gasoline is only used in thin summer dresses. I'm not entirely 100% clear on why gasoline over other things, but other sort of gasoline-esque related parallel products such as kerosene are also used in stain removal, grass stains especially. So we are going to resume the soap and hope that the absence of gasoline doesn't specifically alter this process too much. Some other chemist in proper environments will have to do that experiment. It will not be me today. So I'm going to prepare the boiling scalding tub in the way of not the summer dresses process, but in the way of the standard washing process, which involves 2 tablespoons of borax. This will just help to soften the water a bit. The sal soda will soften and loosen the dirt. The borax will whiten the clothes as well. Okay, cool. Now, the original washing process says that the mixture in the boiler should be full about 2/3 of the way with water. However, the laundering thin summer dresses instructs not to fill this up 2/3 of the way, but only to fill it up with sufficient water to cover the goods. So I'm going to hypothesize that this is about 1/5 of the way full. The clothes should be put into the boiler while the water is cold or only warm, and then presumably it gets some of that soaking, cleaning action as the water heats up and as it has a little bit of time to soak. This is still going to take a while. And now we add clothes. Yeah, that's good. The initial OG laundering process says to leave them to scald while you go get breakfast. So presumably the Victorian laundress has not yet had breakfast when starting the laundry, because this is a process that takes a little bit to start heating up. Although presumably if you have a larger batch of laundry, there is more water in here. So I guess it's time dependent on how much clothing you're washing. I will have to keep an eye on this to make sure it doesn't get too hot, but we will be back in a bit. Okay, we're back. Instructions for the summer dress say to squeeze and press until all the soil is removed. Following that, rinse in several clear waters. This is not saying to use a washing board for this. Well, while this source does tell you later to use a wringer, I did find another source that specifically said not to use a wringer for thin summer dresses. So we really do want to try and be as delicate with these as possible, which completely makes sense. The water feels really soft, like noticeably soft, especially after in contrast with the London tap water. It's almost like slimy. One thing that I am noticing is that my hands are feeling crusty after handling all this soap and all these chemicals. I'm gonna take this back to the bathroom for rinsing because that is where I have a large expanse of water. Oh my god. Well. Okay, let's go. I should probably disclaim that utilizing a shower to rinse your Victorian garments is probably not how this was done historically. But in the absence of a proper, spigot, this is what we're working with. Oh, we've rinsed the soap out of our garment. That must mean we're done, right? No. The next step is not quite so frequently done in modern laundering, I think at all, although they still sell it, so it must be somewhere. This step is called bluing, which is effectively adding a small bit of blue dye powder into the wash. This is specifically done for white garments. It has been done for hundreds of years. This helps to counteract any sort of signs of aging, yellowing, and just helps the white garments to optically look much whiter. They do caution that you are only supposed to use a very small amount of this, first of all because you don't want to dye your garment blue, but also because if you are trying to counteract any yellowing, yellow plus blue equals green, so you don't want to accidentally dye your garments green either. So once again, they give us absolutely no quantities for this. Oh my god, this is really blue. The instructions for this specifically say to pass, and they use that word pass the garment then through a rinse of bluing water. So presumably it's not meant to sit in the bluing. We don't want to dye this blue. We're just meant to sort of rinse it in a little bit of blue. Again, I'm not sure how much water, I'm not sure how much bluing, but I'm going to start with a very little amount, and then we'll work our way up from here. We might do a little dye sample of the garment just to make sure that we're not actually dyeing this dress blue, although I imagine that could be quite a statement. Okay, I don't think I notice a difference. We might be able to get away with a little bit more. Oh, that's a lot more. Oops. It doesn't seem to be dyeing my apron, which is good news. Let's pour this over and see what happens. And we'll give this one final rinse, and then we will be ready for starching. The instructions specifically say to press the moisture out. I don't precisely know what that means, aside from... I am presently sweaty, very warm, very tired of picking up very heavy things, and also just tired in general. I mean, it was an early morning. So starching is theoretically a bit of a delicate science. You have to balance the temperatures and the dissolving in the correct order to the correct temperatures. Otherwise the starch will either clump up impossibly or will just dry off into powdery powder and not really do anything. So I am a bit skeptical about the directions here. This process that's listed specifically for the summer lingerie dresses only instructs to put 2 tablespoons of cold water starch into 1 quart of lukewarm water. So this is not a method I have ever tried before and have no idea how the starch is going to turn out, but I guess we'll give it a go and see what happens. It is effectively the same thing as the historical starches, which are just rice starch, flour starch, potato starch. It's effectively the same thing, so you can just use one of those if you didn't have access to specific laundry starch, although this would have been very available in your local grocers or chemists. Starch has a tendency to want to congeal up continually. You have to sort of be constantly moving it and giving it some attention, otherwise it will settle and congeal and not function correctly. So, hopefully everything gets nicely starched. This isn't an essential process for all laundering, by the way. This is most specifically for garments that need to have a bit of stiffness, such as shirts, lots of cottons. So it seems we have absorbed the starch. I'm not sure if we squeeze the starch. I guess so. So normally the drying process involves line drying, and they do say pin them up first of all quickly, but also to make sure that there is lots of airflow and ideally that the clothes are in the sunlight. However, this is not how these summer dresses are advised to be dried. Because of the starch, they actually advise to roll these dresses up in a piece of cloth so that as much of the moisture gets sort of absorbed out of them as possible. Let that sit for a little while and then press them. First of all, the pressing will dry the remainder of the garment, but also you do want to press it a little bit damp so that you don't have to re-damp it. Now that we have squeezed this out a bit, let's go set this in a cloth. And now we get a little bit of a break for a couple of hours. While this processes and dries, I will see you back for some ironing. All right, we have a clean dress. It definitely smells clean, which is really cool. Not that I had any reason to doubt the Edwardians and their competency in cleaning things. It is damp, but it is not dripping, as you can see. So the final step in our washing adventures is, of course, the ironing. And if you have spent a bit of time on this channel, you probably know ironing is not something to be underestimated. In fact, in this text, the author literally says, "Now comes the artistic part of laundering. Clothes may be beautifully washed, starched, and carefully sprinkled, but if they are poorly ironed, their appearance is spoiled." So ironing clearly is an important part of clothing maintenance, and that is something that we are going to take care of right now. I'm not using a Victorian iron, alas, because I do not have the supportive facilities to use a Victorian iron. Ooh, good sizzle. They would be flat irons that you would put on your stovetop, and that would then heat up. And because you're starting with the garment wet, you kind of can't really dawdle about this. You have to sort of be prepared to iron the entire dress all in one go, because once it's dry, you sort of lose that really nice ironing situation. This is actually really amazing, but as the fabric is drying, I can feel how stiff and crisp it's getting. So the starch has done its job. I am already growing a little bit worried about if I'm going to get this entire dress ironed before it starts to dry. If I do not, it's going to dry really wrinkly. I can feel the dampness already starting to go. I don't think I even got through one skirt panel yet. I need to work a little bit faster. The pressure is definitely on. Wow, it is really nice and crisp and stiff. I can't say I would recommend a whole lot about the process of Victorian laundry, but the starching, this is pretty impressive. I think would be even more impressive, therefore, to be an Edwardian and to be using a non-electric iron. I thought I hated ironing like nowadays. I would have hated it even more in the Edwardian period. There are definitely places where the mud has not quite gone, but there are also places where it has kind of gone completely. So give or take a little bit of success here and there. This process is going to take at least an hour. I can already tell. Time-wise, this was an extremely slow process. I know you can't really get a sense of timing from the video because editing and stuff, but last night I would cut that down to maybe an hour of actual washing time, with the caveat that I don't really know what I'm doing. So an experienced Edwardian, someone who lives in the Edwardian period and who knows what they're doing, could probably have got done what I got done in half an hour to 45 minutes maybe. Once again, this morning could probably have got done in about 2 hours if you actually knew what you were doing. So in total, the washing alone, I would like to say took about 2.5 to 3.5 hours. Now, also granted, this was one garment, so if there were multiple garments that needed different sorts of stain removals, that would have taken more time, obviously. If there were other white garments similar to this that could have gone in the same laundry vat, those additional garments wouldn't have taken as much time. However, if you also have some colored clothing, you would need to set up entirely different wash vats for those and repeat the process essentially. Oh my god, this is so stressful. I can definitely see how this is an art. If you try and work too quickly, then you end up pressing creases in places you don't want to press them in, and then those creases are effectively permanent because then they're dry. I mean, I could easily see how this would take up a full day's work. I am very sweaty. The irony of my sweating through the clothes that I'm wearing now to do the laundry, which means I will inevitably have more laundry to do when I'm finished with this because these clothes will be very sweaty, which means I will have to sweat through more clothes to do more laundry. I think I got, I don't know, ages more. Oh no. No, I thought I disliked the laundering, but I think I hate the ironing more. That took about 1 hour to do this dress, but oh my god, if that didn't take so much very, very sweaty energy. Our hem is looking a lot better. It definitely doesn't immediately look muddy upon first glance. When you look a bit more closely, you can see there is a bit of mud staining still. So it hasn't completely 100% worked. I will also disclaim with the caveat that there is a ton of room for user/interpreter error in this, in that I might not have used enough of the substances. I mean, the general washing environment is naturally very different in a 21st century London flat than would have existed historically. So there are many factors that could have influenced the complete original intent of function for this. But for what they are, the results are quite good. At least it's clean enough that I can now actually wear this in everyday circumstances and not literally have it look like the hem is completely muddy. So if there's one thing that we can take away from this experiment, it is that laundry day is a commitment. This, of course, was only one garment that I was experimenting with in this particular experiment, but in reality, of course, if you are doing your laundry, you would have an entire person's worth of laundry. In fact, you would probably have a household's full of laundry. And because laundry takes so long to do, it takes so much physical effort and mental energy and general household concessions that have to be made in order to accommodate for laundry day, such as the meals you get to eat, you want to be doing as little laundry as you physically possibly can. And this, of course, is why we see garments that are made of wools and of silks and tarlatans that theoretically should not be washed and most certainly should not be washed regularly. It's why we have a different mindset towards washing today than was probably had historically, because nowadays a lot of our clothes are made specifically from a very limited range of fibers so that they can be very easily just thrown in the washing machine. We are very much of the mindset these days that washing machine equals clean, when actually there are many other ways to clean your clothes and to, even before you reach the step of cleaning, to make sure that they stay fresh and preserved so that they don't need to be cleaned. For example, this is a huge reason why many people historically were wearing so many layers of clothing. Not because Victorian delicate modesty and whatever, but primarily for the most practical reason that the garments that are touching your skin will need to be washed, but anything worn over top of that, especially the outermost layers, won't come into contact with the skin. So if they don't get stained, and they don't get dusty, and they don't get dirty, and they don't come into contact with the skin, they will not need to be washed. The undermost layers, the shifts and chemises and shirts and drawers, those were made of very hard-wearing, durable, and easily washable materials such as linen and cotton, usually undyed so that they can all just be thrown into one vat and boiled literally. They can withstand very high temperatures. They can all just go into the same, everyone's garments, just be washed very easily, very streamlined. The sort of middling layers of clothing such as shirts, trousers, waistcoats, therefore won't be in contact with the skin and won't need to be washed as regularly. On top layers such as overskirts, overcoats, coats, jackets, those as a result of those underlayers wouldn't need washing apart from spot cleaning, airing out. It's looking back and examining techniques like this that really help you to look back at history and realize that maybe everything done historically wasn't the inferior way, and maybe we do things now that are superfluous or not necessary or actually even less useful to the longevity, the preservation of garments, of items, of whatever it is, simply because of our modern attitudes of consumption. If your garments wear out because they've been washed time and time and time again, even if it's only been 3 years, you can just theoretically go out and buy a new one for quite cheap. On the other hand, being a bit more conscious about the washing and the wearing and the care of your clothes can actually help to extend the life of them, the color, vibrancy of them a lot longer, and will help that garment to be able to stay in your wardrobe for a lot longer, which I think is magical. It's certainly very sustainable. I'm not saying everyone has to go out and like wash their clothes. In fact, I actually don't recommend doing this because I have tried this in a period of my life and it's a nightmare. I mean, obviously we stopped doing this for a reason because it just takes so long, and who wants to do this? Of all the historical practices to do, hand sew your clothes, grow your own food, like do all like use your gas lamps. It's cool, great, but like if you wish to keep your sanity, do not wash your clothes by hand. I'll say it. You can quote me on that. That's it. That's the video.
Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed that. A couple notes. She's using a stove, which is electric. Back in the day, they would have used fire, a wood stove, an outdoor fire, which takes a lot of effort. It's hard to control. You got to constantly, add wood. The temperature goes up and down. Basically, it's really hard to work with. When she was ironing the clothes, she was using an electric iron and using an old iron where you had to put it on heat and let the iron heat up, and then you used it a little bit, and then you put it back and let it heat. That would add to it. And then the fact that they didn't do one garment at a time, they would do multiple. It'd be laundry day. They do quite a few, quite a lot of laundry, and so there's a lot to laundry. I mean, that's just the laundry. Okay, now imagine adding cooking your food, gathering water, all the different things that you do during the day. Taking a bath was a pain in the ass. It's just it's there is so much extra that has to be done to do everything. And then when you come to building buildings, you've got all these problems on top of the fact that you don't have any power tools and you don't have the modern technologies that we have today to construct with. So you got a lot of factors that are pushing against you back then. And I think we need to understand these things. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed that. So now let's go ahead and do a little mudding. I hope you guys are having a good time, and we will get into it. Hey, Morgan. Hey, Crosshatch. I believe that. Hey, Kathy Broughton. How's it going? Okay. We'll go ahead and get into it, and go ahead and present the screen and see if this thing will come up for us, and make sure that I get my doodad right. Okay, I think we're going. All right, we got, let's see, Alpha Delta Phi fraternity house at Yale College. And again, these images are from between 1890 and 1910. They were taken by the Detroit Photographic Company, as you can see here. And these are all high resolution digital scans of glass plate negatives. And you see some beautiful wrought iron work there. Very high-end stuff. That is not easy to make. Beautiful stonework. Big old columns there on that house. Got the shitty little white picket fence there. It's interesting if you follow this fence line, how it drops down into the ground. Like what's going on right there. That's kind of weird. Hard to tell what that is, but that's kind of strange, I think. Got a porthole here. And they would be able to, back in the day, they would have been able to open this, and that would have been part of the house's wind catcher. Diamond symbology. Got Taurus fields, those more diamond symbology. And I could make a case of that being a flat earth asterisk if I wanted, but I imagine you can figure that out for yourself. Let's see what we got over here. Look at that detail on that right there. That's neat. That's a half of flat earth asterisk. Boy, that's pretty. I like that. This is a fraternity house. I mean, seriously. Got a Y right there. Celtic knots. Wow. That's cool. Little Taurus fields. There's your fraternity letters. That's a hitching post right there. There's a little Mudflood winter back there, in case you didn't want them. Look how old that tree is. That's old. Very cool. Okay, we got Alumni Hall at Yale College, Connecticut. Boater hat. Boater hats have an interesting history. Little Mudflood Wander. I was working on some stuff around the house the other day, and I put Martin Leake on his I believe Saturday show, and he was doing a part 2 to his I forget what the show was called, but basically about how the got porthole there that would have opened up. Talk about how basically our history starts in 1800, and that goes along with what I've been saying. If that I believe that the reset. I don't know when exactly the mud flood would have been, but I believe it was prior to 1776. That seems to be, to me, the time where they started coming back, and they've done some scratching off of the negative right here. You can see. And so, but what's interesting is I'm not sure if he was saying, maybe somebody could tell me in the chat, was he saying that he didn't believe we were people were here on Earth before 1800, or was he just saying that the reset was in 1800? I think he was saying the reset was in 1800, but I'm not exactly sure. I was kind of half listening. If somebody can clarify that for me. And that being said, just my thoughts on when this was, and I've said this before, is that I believe that they started that the reset would have been before 1776. I don't know how far before. I don't think it was too far back before that. But I believe that we were here. I believe that it's quite possible we were underground. Check out those lions there on that cartouche. And those doors look pretty big. And I believe that we were here because check out these guys having lunch out there on the side there. What the hell are they doing? But I believe we were here. And the reason I believe that is that there's too many people early on that knew how to the tradesmen that knew how to work with the masonry, that knew how to work with wood, and who knew how to do these trades to make glass, these things that you're not just gonna magically appear on Earth and know how to do these things. So my point is that I believe there were people from the old world that survived, that were able to start fixing and repairing and even building new things. This is an interesting image. It just says Aunt Charlotte. And what's interesting to me is that in my Raleigh history that I'm doing research on, Raleigh, North Carolina, I don't know who this lady is or what her story is, but there is an exact, not just story. I have pictures of the lady where she would ride from outside of. She owned a farm, and she was pretty wealthy, a black lady. And she was pretty wealthy, and she would ride her cart being pulled by her bull every day into downtown Raleigh, and she would sell her goods. And they say she was, well loved and very very popular, and just her bull would just walk her on in town. So it's just like, it reminded me of that lady, which I'll share one day. But it's interesting to see there's another lady. I mean, just the exact same story, basically. I don't know what this, where she came from. But and we got Balsa Band here with his sideburns going, and we got some kind of Starford action back here in the background. But I just thought it was kind of interesting. Reminded me of that lady. Boardwalk, Atlantic City, New Jersey. We can go down here and check out what's going on. They had these little things, and they would wheel. You could sit in here, and people would wheel you around. It was a little well-to-do. There's some of those ladies' dresses. We know how to clean those now. I mean, can you imagine? And imagine, that lady was doing a lightweight summer dress. Imagine if she was doing a winter dress that was even heavier. Salt and freshwater baths. These lamps are cool. Waldorf. Those are cool. Waldorf or Astoria buffet. That's interesting. Got the telegraph already. Check out these lights up here. Oh, they got them right here too. It's really interesting. I wonder if they had a Waldorf Astoria location there. I don't know. That's a good question. Bleak house. Well, that don't sound too good. Arched windows. Get your cigar for 5 cents. Play a little bit of pool. I played many a game of pool in my life. I used to hang out at a pool hall. It was our spot. It was a good place to just chill and drink some beer. Check out these domes here, the wind catchers up top. That's interesting. You don't see too many black folks in these pictures. That's interesting. And I don't know why. To be honest with you, I don't know why they don't have more pictures. There's Bossa Man right there. Bossa Man Jr. There's Fred down there on the beach getting a suntan. I'll put y'all on donkey watch. So if you find a donkey, let me know. Haha's good about finding donkeys. I don't know if he's still here. He was over there running his choppers earlier. Do. Big old building out on that pier. That's crazy. All these antennas up here. Arc lights. That's interesting technology. Those things were bright too. Good grief. Got Breaker Boys, Woodward Coal Breakers in Kingston, PA. So some child labor. Just imagine. Talk about a hard life. Very tough. I think they allowed these kids to get worked as hard as they did because they didn't have, parents. Like, they were like orphan trained kids kind of thing. I think they were, nobody cared about them. And still have no idea where these kids, would have come from. It's very strange. I mean, it's quite possible that sterility was a big deal. Early, 1900s, mid 1800s. That's kind of time frame of the kids coming in, but that doesn't explain where the kids came from. I've been trying to find it for a long time, but I remember hearing an old story of an interview of a lady that was an orphan trained kid. And she said that, I'll never forget, she said that she was told to forget her past, that it did not matter anymore, that you know, that these are the people she was going with are her new parents. This is her, you know, this is her new history, you know, and everything before that to just forget. And imagine being a small child, an adult tells you to forget your past. I mean, you know, you do what you're told and your mind shuts it down. Broadway north from Olive Street in St. Louis. Got coal hole cover here and here and here and all the way up there. Possibly pavement light right there. Trap door going to the underground. Pretty much, if you've got an old, you know, old city, you can pretty much look underground. You're going to find underground. Homeopathic pharmacy. Very cool. Very cool. That homeopathic medicine, that was where it was at before they came out with the Flexner report and the Rockefellers, you know, shut down the old, you know, natural medicines and things. Look at the dripping fruit there. The Flexner report. If you don't know about that, you need to look into that. Very important. Very important as to why we have the medical system we have today. Because we didn't always have the medical system we have today. That it's very, you know, a relatively new thing. I mean, pretty much anything, you know, before, in my eyes, 1776 is just like actually proving it is really difficult. It's very, very difficult. And yeah, we find things that are old, but you know, are they what we think they are? Are they what we're told we're been, you know? Well, I don't know if we know. There's arc lights right there. There's a nice looking awning right there. That's a good looking awning. Slap an awning on a building, you really got something. I'll tell you that right now. Look at all that detail. Just beautiful details on these buildings. Stoneball finials, Taurus fields. Beautiful brickwork. That is top-notch brickwork right there. Look at that. I mean, that's got to be hard to do. I mean, this week I didn't sit there and watch them, but you know, I was checking on them all day. Is we had some masons working on the farm, and they were just working with cinder blocks. And I mean, gosh, that is hard work. Working with masonry is tough. It's not something I'd want to do. Went to Lowe's the other day to get that's the hardware store. Went to get a tile for the bathroom, and it was, I don't remember how many cases. Maybe we might have got 30, 40 cases. I can't remember, but they were, you know, 18 by 18 tiles, or 12. I think they were 12 by 12 or 16, no, maybe 16 by 16 tiles. And there's like, I don't know, 20 to a case or something. Anyways, man, those cases are heavy. God, I couldn't be a tile man. That just, oh, my back was so sore after messing with that stupid stuff. And you can't get no help at Lowe's. They suck. Look at that unscrubbed cartouche right there with a fleur-de-lis. Venetian shells, Taurus fields, coin with a Q. There's a clock. Clocks are expensive with looks like 4 1s for you Mandela affected folk. Looks like Tartarian lines up there on top. Wow. They could hoist things up here with that right there, that contraption. Could put a hoist on it. Look at that, got a bear hanging out. Dental rooms. Woo, can you imagine going to a dentist back then? Woo! Oh my. Clocks are expensive. Busy Bee Candy. Man, look how smoggy it is. I mean, like, you can't even see down the road. That's really weird. I wonder what's going on there. That was some cobblestone brick road there. Make sure it ain't melted. Nope. Sorry. Got cafe at the Lawyers Club, Equitable Building in New York. So neat interior shot. What we got here? Look at those candelabras. Damn. Tourist fields. That must be modified. Whew, man. That would be a hell of a place to have some lunch. Laurel leaf of control. Image was overexposed, it looks like. Look at the silver back there. Just the exquisite details, just unbelievable. Very, very cool. Look at that. Wowzers. That's a heck of a place to get a meal. Chicago Club in Chicago. A few Mudflood winners there in case you need them. Love these arch doors like this. Like, how do you put that on a blueprint? Kind of looks like Pooper Scooper Man there. Got some Mudflood winners there, right there. Tourist fields. Chicago Musical College, and you got the V for the U. I think that's an old world sign. I believe, in my opinion, English was the language in America. I believe English was already here. That's just a thought of mine. I've seen it just written in too many things in old ways. And I don't know, it seems right to me. Can I prove that? No, there's Fred. Fred being the horse that built America. And there's a nice, beautiful awning. See how much better that building looks with that awning on there. And the stripes. I mean, that's good looking awning right there. If somebody built me this building, they didn't put awning on there, I would refuse payment. I'd say I'm not paying that bill for that building because you didn't put nothing on the building looks good. So you said it was going to look good. It doesn't look good. And then they put an awning on there trying to appease me. I'd be like, well, okay, I'll pay the bill now because now it looks good. Looks like DNA. Just exquisite details. Torus fields. Wow. How cool is that? That fella ain't got no head or arms or legs. That's an odd looking thing right there. That is very strange. Look at that. They just don't build things like this anymore. I'm not saying we can't build stuff like this anymore, but I think there's reasons, very good reasons, we don't build stuff like this anymore. There's Fred. More Freds, clone Freds. I mean, I just can't imagine that people are like, yeah, these buildings are ugly. Let's not build these anymore. Look at that street lamp. I mean, the quality just in a damn street lamp. Just a simple ass street lamp. They just go all out. I mean, just come on. Today, you're lucky to get some glass and steel. That's an interesting finial right there. Bringing in some etheric energies. What's etheric energies? Free energy. Free energy? You mean you ain't got to pay for it? No, because it's free from the ether. Well, what's the ether? You know, we can know what ether is? Yeah. Yeah, I do. Would you like to know? I've had these conversations. You know what earth is? Oh, yeah. You know what fire is? Oh, yeah. This is City Hall, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You know what water is? Oh, yeah. You know what air is? Oh, yeah. What are they? They're the 4 elements. Uh-huh. Did you know there's 5 elements? Really? What's the other one? Ether. What is ether? And you just back to square one. And you got to start all over. Etheric antenna right there. It is a very hard concept to how do you it is a very how do you teach people about something that is invisible? You know, looks like some funny business is going on that right there. Hard to say. Kind of funny looking. I don't know. A weird look. Big ass arch. Believe this building goes deep down there. Look at all the mud. I mean, we can build a building that size, but we can't pave. We can do sidewalks, but we can't pave a road. Does that even make sense? Where are the trolley tracks? Like they're so caked in mud. I mean, it's ridiculous. Poor Fred over here got a blanket on. He's freezing to death up there in Wisconsin. All he wants is a little bit of cheese. And ain't that what they're famous for is cheese. Get you some cheese up there. There's some ventilation into the underground. Possibly windows there. don't know what that thing right there is. That's kind of odd. Okay, that's a trolley. That's the trolley's hanging off that piece of metal there that I couldn't figure out what that was. Interesting. Cool little dude. Look at this street light. I mean, come on. Oh, it's a clock. Excuse me. It's got 4 ones for the Mandela affected folk. When I was young, the 4 was always IV or 1V. This 4 ones or 4 I's is horseshit. To me, that is a 100% Mandela effect. No doubt. And C-3PO was always gold. He never had a silver leg. It's horseshit. Check out that finial there. That's a nice. What that is, maybe telegraph cables. It's like a Frisian hat on top of that ether antenna there. Another etheric antenna, probably got mercury in the ball there. Check out that roof. Big ass clocks is expensive for sure. Just incredible. Lord knows what they use these buildings for in the old world. I don't know. This is the coat room of the Lawyers Club, the Equitable Building in New York. Just a weird room. I guess maybe this is for sticking their canes and umbrellas in, maybe. You got a little coat hook with, I guess that's the hat hook for your top hat. And that's your number for your coat. I guess that's what you turn back in and get your coat back. I mean, it's just weird because this is not a problem we have today. Like, I don't know, we just don't do this. Look at that light. That light is just wild. I don't know, it's just a different time. We don't do things like the way we used to. This is El Morro, Santiago de Cuba. So going to go down and visit Castro for a second. I don't know what they got going on here. Look at that opening right there. That's interesting. Look up under there. Got some sort of cave system maybe. See, this is the kind of stuff like, right, this and this. Not this stuff. Not this stuff. This stuff is the kind of stuff that makes me interested in possible meltology. It's these horse shit that they'll say, oh, that's melted red brick. No, it's not. If they would just stick to the actual like stuff that's possibly actually melted buildings, they would be gold, but they don't. They're so desperate and hard up. Oh, we got a 100% confirmed vanilla sky. Looks like almost like a dude standing on top of that roof, but I'm not sure. But that is a 100% confirmed vanilla sky. They have cut that sky out, no doubt. See that right there? 100%. I'll need to add this one to my collection. Got a Star Fort. Well, that building's melted into the rock. That's, you can build on the stuff. You just mortar on top of the rock and then build off of it. Like it's some secret, science or something. You got people standing all over the top of this and they've cut them off here. I wonder why they didn't go closer to it and just cut them off completely. It's kind of weird. Got a lighthouse right here. That is 100% vanilla sky. That is not a chemical process, as some would have you believe. Not a chemical process. It's just a negative, glass plate negative that they've scratched the colloidal silver off of. Entrance to Wade Park, Cleveland, Ohio. So we've got some fancy landscaping over here. Some sort of structure back there. Lady in uniform. Okay. Got us a crocodile. Some dude coming out, blowing him a seashell, and got a half man horse here with a, looks like a serpent coming out spraying. So that's a little bit weird. That's strange. Not sure what they mean by that. We got let's see, Epworth Memorial Church in Cleveland, Ohio. That's a beauty. Of course, we can't, pave the road. No, that's too much work. We can do sidewalks, but we can't pave the road. 891. Don't know if there's a I or a 1 or a J over to the left of that, but there's big arches. And then you got, well, maybe, I don't know. It looks like to me stairs going up into there, but it's hard to tell. Mudflood Wanders. That's a Mudflood drop in too, because you got the rail going down, it looks like. There's some kids looking down at the Mudflood winter like, what in pray tell the hell is going on with this building? That's what the kids are thinking. They're talking about it right there, talking about the Mudflood. Got porthole right there. Yeah, I bet those stairs go up, because look at them stairs. Them's the stairs that go up right there. Some kind of signage there. What else? A pretty, look at that electrical pole right there, how straight it is. Good looking electrical pole. Got some rose windows for you. Do some cymatics. Because you can feeling cymatic-y. And that would be a porthole right there. Check out that flower of life right there. Very nice. Very, very, very nice. Look at that lettering. That's so weird. Looks very strange. Got the checkerboard. Flat Earth asterisks. Right there in the center. Arc light. NBC Peacock. So imagine they added that cross later. I believe all the Christian motif would be an addition, and when they added the narrative there. Got portholes. Is that a shamrock? Maybe? I don't know. It's like a four-leaf clover there. Little Mudflood Wanders. Etherfinial right there. Okay, more etherfinials. Too many. Got one up here, including the weather vane. Do you know you need a biscuit? That's some etheric fencing here. Cresting. All right, we got Equitable Life Insurance Offices, New York. So that's the interior of a very nice looking building. First thing jumps out at me is that Tartarian line right there. Just incredible. Another lion. Just exquisite detail. Look at that Taurus field. Jeez. Look at that. Damn. Where do you even begin to make something like that? Damn. That's insane. Like who came up with this stuff? There's just so much detail. Look at all that wrought iron. Fleur-de-lis. More lions. Eagle representing the phoenix. Mamma mia. It's the spicy. Whew. Man. I just why don't they teach us this in school about this stuff? I mean, I know why they don't do it, but why? You know, why? I love these chairs. These chairs will spin up and down so you can raise the height of them. Always thought those were cool. Just what is going on in this place? Look at that chandelier. There's a clock. It's like maybe 4 ones, 4 eyes. Like what in the world? You'd have to drop acid to go to work here. Dang. Falls of the Rio Cobre near Spanish Town, Jamaica. WI. Not sure what the WI is. That's just cool looking. Look at that stone wall right there. I wonder, that's interesting. I wonder what this is right here. That's kind of interesting. I don't know. That's weird right there. No idea what that is. Never seen one of those trees. That's pretty cool. Interesting. Got Fort Marion, St. Augustine, Florida. So a star fort. In case you need one of them. I believe I went. Okay, I'm gonna tell a story. I'm pretty sure this is where it was. I'm not positive. I was like 2 years old, 3 years old, some shit. I was knee high to a duck, right? But we went to a star fort. I believe it was this one, and they had this. Um, we were out there. They had a cannon, and um, I don't remember the story. It's been a long time, but basically, I had to go to the bathroom, and I might have been a little older than three, maybe three. I might have been three. I was really little, but I said I need to get to the bathroom, and I guess they asked the tour guide where the bathroom was, and they pointed, and I didn't understand, I guess. So, anyways, there's a picture of me in my picture somewhere that won't be shown, but there's a picture of me squatted down behind a cannon with my tailbone sticking out, I was taking care of business behind the cannon, under the cannon at this fort. Pretty sure it was this fort. So, anyways, I crowned this star fort for y'all. Kids, what in the world are we going to do? Gondolas in Central Park, New York. Because, when I'm going to go on a gondola, I'm going to think of Central Park, New York. They've done some, that's weird. It almost looks like fingerprints, but then it kind of looks like it's purposeful. Not sure. That's weird. Maybe it is fingerprints. Yeah, that's a gondola in the middle of Central Park. Because, I mean, that is really weird. I think that's purposeful. Like they took a paintbrush to it or something and added these weird lines. It had to have. There's no way that's just somebody handling the negative. There's no way the glass plate. I don't know why they did that. Well, you get busy under there. Hey. That is just wild looking. Like, what in the world? Like, there's so much manipulation going on there. I can't tell you what is real and what ain't real. Are y'all seeing that? That is heavily manipulated. I'm gonna have to add that one to my collection. Harrington Hotel, Port Huron, Michigan. Huron, Port Huron, I guess. I don't know. I don't make these names up. Some other clown does. Bicycles to rent. Okay. In case you need a bicycle. We'll take you a little ride. I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride my bike. Do you know that tune, Morgan? I see you hanging out. Tours Fields. I bet Morgan knows that song. Baths. How much you want to bet they're underground? Got something going on underground there because look at all that railing there. They're protecting you from something. They've got Mudflood something going on there. No doubt. No doubt. Got Mudflood winners over here in case you need some of those. Ghost Man. Probably a hitching post. Look at a Moorish architecture there. Got an onion dome. Yes, Moors were in America when we got here. We knew all about America and where it was. And no, it's not named for what we think it was named from. None of the history of America is what we were told. Just take all the history of pre-Columbian America and just throw it out the window. It's all horseshit. All of it. Diamond symbology. It's all every bit of it. There's nothing real about it. Nothing. None of it. Not the Indians, not the nothing. All of it. Take all of it, throw it out the window. They completely made that shit up. That's my opinion. And opinions are like tail holes, and everybody's got one. Architectural urns. But no, I definitely do not feel like anything before Columbus is correct. Holiday Hotel in Cleveland, Ohio. It reminds me of James Dean for some reason. I don't know why. Get your cigars. Drip coffee. At their fencing, on the cresting. Arched windows. At their antenna. This building just keeps on going on up. All the way up to the ether antenna there. Must have been a real foggy day or something. Interesting. They must do something on this right here. Maybe they have a canopy or something they put out. There's Fred and Fred's twin. Got Mudflood drop-ins down there and all across here. Steps going on, Mudflood drop-ins, steps going up, Mudflood drop-in right there. See stairs going down. All kinds of Mudflood action right there. Why would you build your windows and doors below ground? It was in fashion. It was high fashion in Victorian America. Uh-huh. Okay. I believe that when my sheet turns purple and smells like rainbow sherbet. This is Illinois Central Depot in Chicago. Got some trains. Some train cars and trains were so important back then. I believe the trains are old world. Yeah, that big arch. I wonder how deep that goes. Park Road 2 house. I was watching, I watched all the fire shows over here in America. I don't know if anybody's watched those. But watching the fire shows, I was watching Nashville 911, and they showed the outside of the building. Now they didn't film. I later found out they didn't film the show in the building. That they show as the outside, the exterior of the firehouse. But I was looking at this building. I'm like, gosh, I've seen that building before. Where have I seen that building before? I knew it was in Nashville, and I'd been to Nashville many, many times. But I was like, where have I seen that building? I don't remember where I've seen it. Anyways, I used to stop. I used to go through Nashville a lot driving, and I would, for a while, I'd stop and go to the Hard Rock Cafe because I was young and I thought Hard Rock Cafe was, cool. But then it got kind of boring because, Hard Rock Cafe food sucks. I got tired of food. So I found this place across the street that was really good. It was a microbrewery, and they made these great sandwiches, and they made this amazing chocolate beer. And it's right there by the river. And anyways, there's old world buildings down there, and I remembered them, and so I'm like, I wonder if that building is in that area that I used to stop and go and hang out. And sure enough, it literally was right around the corner from the Hard Rock. So I was like, oh, that's how I seen that place. So it's just kind of funny. Got a lot going on right there. There's Fred right there and there. We got big ass door right there. Looks like some lower level doors there. All these arched windows. At their finial. But I'm trying to go back and look at, the things that I thought I'd seen in my life, and you really haven't. If you start going back and checking, places that you've been that you just kind of had been there and didn't really think about it, you go back and look again with your new set of eyes, and it's going to blow your mind what you saw and didn't realize, and what you didn't see, and it was right in front of you. Imperial Bathhouse, Hot Springs, Arkansas. So we'll go over here to Hillary Clinton's neighborhood. I know y'all like Hillary Clinton, don't you? Dick Cheney died this week. Hooray! Woo! I tell you what, Grim Reaper did a good job this week. Oh, they made a special place in hell for that son bitch. I hope his death was extremely agonizing. I hope he experienced more pain than any person on earth has ever experienced in his death. I hope he screamed as he died. If you only know the pain and suffrage he has caused the world. There's Fred making a delivery. Look at that window right there. That stained glass. How beautiful is that? All this stained glass, just really, really pretty. But if you knew just half the stuff that son of a bitch has done, just churn your stomach. At their finial there, at their finial there. But he's one of the worst people. He's Henry Kissinger level bad, George Soros bad. Like Bill Gates bad, like Hillary Clinton bad. Like he definitely is a horrible, horrible person. Was. Now they probably put him in a new body. You know how they are. Anyways, Jewish Temple, Cleveland, Ohio. What are we going to find? Look at that brickwork. See, this is not random. I don't think you guys may or may not realize this, but you see how there's different colors to the brick? That is not random. That is very specifically done. When they order their brick, they order so many of a certain tone, and then they hand select them as they put them up to give it texture, to give it variance in the brick. We got at their finial up there. So that is very purposeful. It's not by mistake that looks like that. They didn't just grab a brick and throw it up. It was purposeful, is what I'm saying. To put a dark brick next to a light brick next to a middle size, mid-rate colored brick, whatever. It's very purposeful. Mudflood winders. Possibly a mudflood drop in. Got another mudflood winder down there. Got a runner plumbing on the outside of the building. Look at that stained glass. Betty Putty. Glass isolators for the electric. Look at those arches up there. More stained glass. At the finial. Very nice. Rose window. And this is just as easily could be a Episcopal church or a Catholic church or a Methodist church. They just made this one a Jewish church temple, excuse me. They got to be different. That's why we have so many denominations of Christianity, because they had too many churches. They had to come up with different denominations to fill the churches up. You can't have 15 Methodist churches in one town. That doesn't work for the narrative. That doesn't work. Look at Ether Finial sitting back there in the background, hiding behind that trolley cable. Yeah, we found you. We're on to you. Don't you worry. We got X-ray eyes. LR and HSW Railroad, Little Rock and Hot Springs Western Railroad Depot, Hot Springs. Might be more Arkansas. Arkansas for you rednecks. Got a train. Choo-choo. Got some Freds over here hanging out, doing what Freds do. Got some beautiful awnings. Venetian shells. It's a weird little symbol. Got Law Library of the Lawyers Club at the Equitable Building in New York. We got a spittoon here. I knew this at one time. I knew this 90-year-old woman. She chewed tobacco, and she could sit on one side of the room and spit that tobacco, and it would go a good 15 feet across the room and hit that spittoon every time. She had perfect aim. Her family ran a blueberry farm, and it was behind where we lived for a little while, and I could go out there and pick my blueberry, I could go out there and pick all the blueberries I wanted, but I quickly learned that I could go just to the packing warehouse where they would pack the blueberries in the containers, and just grab a container of blueberries. And the farmer, he was real cool with us, and so I'd just go in there and grab me a container of blueberries. But then I caught on to the fact that the farmer kept frozen blueberries in his freezer at home, and so I'd go up to his house and walk in and open up the freezer, and I'd get out the blueberries, and he'd always have milk and sweet and low, and I'd put the sweet and low on the blueberries and pour milk on it, and you want to talk about something good. Boy, that was good. And he came home one day, John, you gonna eat me out of house and blueberry. It was so good. I've had my fill of some blueberries now. It's a weird room. I don't even know what to say about it. Very strange looking. What that thing is, a lamp holder or something? I don't know. Not sure. Ink holder? A coat rack. What do they call that? Parquet flooring? Maybe. What a weird, what is this thing? Old ass books. Got Layton Art Gallery in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Got your old world fire hydrant. Check out that wrought iron. BEA, beautiful. Oh wow, I gotta add this to my collection of photoshopped images. There is a person standing right there, and they have edited it out. I don't even know if y'all can see that. Yeah, tell me in the chat, can y'all see that? They have their feet are right here, their body is right here, and their head would be right here, and they have edited that person out. I don't even know if y'all can see that. There is I swear that there is a person standing right there. I'm telling you right now. Can y'all see that? Is that coming through? I don't know if y'all can see that. I don't know if the resolution is transferring high enough that you can even see that. There is a person. That is so wild how good. You would never know that there was a person standing right there. No way. If I didn't tell you, you would never have known. That is wild. I wonder if there's anybody else in here you can't see. Kind of odd right there, but they are really good at this photo manipulation. It's you know, why did they take the person out of that picture? It's so strange. Why, if you were so worried about a person being in your picture, why'd you just say, hey, everybody stay out of the damn picture? I don't know. You can see him, Morgan, you can see him, hippie? Okay. You can see it, haha, okay. All right, well, that's good. I didn't know if y'all could see it. Wow. Look at all the Phoenician shells on that thing. Boy, they're talking about, look, right here. Look at us, Phoenician shells. Check us out. Man. Look like there was windows there and they closed them up or something. Right there and right there and right there. That's kind of weird. That's a finial. Look at the brickwork there for the roof there. That's wild. Wow, it's a crazy building. It's an art gallery. Damn. Well, I'm gonna have to add that one. I'm gonna have to go make sure I get these images in my collection. Madison, Wisconsin, panorama from Capitol Dome. Arched windows. Mansard roof. Kind of like a flat iron building. It looks like the road going over to Oak Island. Oak Island started this week. It was so awesome. Yes, love Oak Island. Freaking good shit, man. So much fun. And the more you know about the show, the more you know about the history and the show and the what is going on, that the better the show gets, because like you really get to understanding when they find something, you understand how important it is. It's just really, really fun. It's really good. And the show is called Curse of Oak Island, but ignore the Curse of Oak Island part. I think that the curse that they talk about, I think that that's made up, quite possibly for the TV show. I have not found any documentation that says that there actually is this quote unquote curse. I think it was marketing for the TV show, and that's okay. They when they first started this, it was matter of fact, that a lot of the people that were involved with the show were kind of really not, that they're almost not even believing in the research, like that it wasn't, they weren't really on board. They were kind of, okay, let's prove it wrong kind of thing. And now they're all on board. Anybody that gets involved with it, they're on board with it, because it's just like, even the people that shouldn't, like that you would think would like fight them tooth and nail, like the archaeologist, the state archaeologist, that come on board, they come there very skeptical, and even they get on board with what's going on there, because it's so undeniable that there's a hidden history there that is incredible, that they give up. There's no point. I don't have this one labeled. Sorry, folks. The Studebaker Castle Square Opera Company, Pirates of Pence. What the hell? I don't know. Central Church. There's Fred right there. He looks like getting ready to go racing. That one is racing. That's Racing Fred. Stuff's just already built out. I mean, it's already here. We're not building it. It doesn't even look like it needs to be built. It looks like it's been here for 200, 300, 400 years. There's a flat earth asterisk over there in the corner if you need that, in case you need to know where you are. Interesting little symbology right there. Checkerboard. No, but the story is, I posted an image of a coin that was found back in 1850 on the during the first dig that was done after the original dig. So they were the first people. It was, I believe, the Churro Company, and they were the first ones to dig in the money pit after the original people that discovered the money pit. And they were drilling, and the guy that was operating the drill, he got something off the drill and put it in his pocket, wouldn't tell anybody what it was, left and never came back. And he went to a gentleman that had some money and asked him if he wanted to go into business. And then they ended up buying a bunch of the property on the island. And then they couldn't gain rights to drill in the money pit, so they never drilled. That company never drilled. But this coin was handed down through the family, and then it was brought to the show this last week. So it's a very, very old coin. Hold on a second, baby. Sounds like the beagle wants to go. You got some stairs that have been added to go up into the building, because the building is down in the mud now. We'll go patrol here in a second. Okay. And the Moorish look there. Oh, this is that building we were looking at earlier. Remember that statue with no head, legs, or arms right there? That's the same building. It's just right next door. So I can add that to my notes. Okay, there's wind catcher windows right there. Hold on, babe. That's a nice building right there. There's a guy. Hold on, babe. Just a guy standing outside the window. We're looking at the guy standing outside the window, looking at the DNA right here. How'd they know about that? Just saying. Got an ether antenna sticking up off the building there. All right. Okay. Let's go. We're gonna take a break here and hold on, baby. Let me get the video ready. You big nut. You a big old nut. I'm a big old nut. I'm a big old nut, dog. Yes, I am. We're gonna take us a break and let him go do his thing. Let's see. What do y'all want to watch today? Anyone? Let's play some more of the Divine Feminine, the Victorian era. I think y'all can hear that.
What is it? Is it treasure map?
Okay, we're back. All right. Okay. We're ready to go again. Hoorah! All right. Okay, y'all having a good time? Okay. All right. We had to go do a patrol and check for bunny rabbits because you never know. Might be a bunny rabbit afoot. He loves him a bunny rabbit. Trying to get my doodad going there. Okay, let me get my pictures back. And get my little doodads here, right? Okay. Right, ready to go there. And we're going to get to the next picture. I don't have a label on this one. Let's see. They labeled it. No, this could be the Equity building. I'm not sure. I'm not sure when it is. Okay, I'm trying to do two things at once here. Got Boss Man hanging out there. Check out these fellas. What's going on with these? That's interesting. Not sure what those are. Check out those lights. Those are wild. That looks like that thing that they got over there at the House of Lords that they walk in, that big what the hell they call that thing? That they get big gold thing that looks like it was a giant's scepter. Yeah, it looks like a big scepter. I'm not sure. What is that? The hell is that? That is weird looking. I don't know if that's a lion. There's no spittoon. I think this might be that same building, the Equitable building. But I don't know. Look at this marble. Oh, man. That might be a lion. I'm not sure. Vigilance and strengths. Guard the defenses. And you got the V for the U. So I bet that's old. Wow. That's heck of a nice building there. Yes, it's a scepter. It looks like a scepter, right? And I think that's what they call that thing in the House of Lords, and they cart it in every now and then. And it's like too big for like a human being to even carry the damn thing. It's like so. It's like so. Oh yeah. Grand Arcade Equitable Life Insurance Building, New York. So I was right. Not bad for a guess. We got Maurice Bathhouse in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Kansas. Got a meeting of the boss mans right there. Nice little tree they've just planted. At the cresting, at the fencing and finial. So you gather you some free energy there in case you need that. Porthole. More at the fencing, at the cresting fence finial. Yeah, that sign's definitely added later. Very much an afterthought. That's odd. It's it looks like that foothold right there. I think that's what that is. Maybe. Is that a foothold? What is that? It looks okay, whatever it is. Okay, it's some sort of doodad. It L shaped here. But it looks like it's vanilla skied right here. But if it is, that's really weird because you've got the tree back here. So how would you vanilla sky that and then have the tree behind it? That's kind of odd. I don't. Hey, that's a. Oof. I don't know. That's odd. I don't know what is going on there. I can't even. You got me on that. Michigan Central Station, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Definitely added that sign. Got some arch winders. Sure what's going on there on the ground there. Got Fred's back here. Even their wheels on their carts have character. Just every little thing is got to have some sort of character to it. Reminds me of a Templar cross right there. They just got to throw some little detail. It's amazing how much different detail that they had back then. Today, everything's, the same. Every house is the same. Every building's the same. One McDonald's looks like another McDonald's. It's like everything's the same. It's all cookie cutter corporate crap. But back then, every building had everything was a masterpiece. Osborne Hall, Yale College. I mean, that's a masterpiece right there. And Fred is on the job. There's the balsa man right there. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Let's see. Hold on a second. Let me mess with my doodad here. It's doing something I don't know what it's doing. All right. Sorry, folks. And got some weird stone work there. Not sure what they're doing. Windows down on ground level. These ones we had to put bars over. Got a meeting of minds there. Bill's looking him a job. Look at those Taurus fields. Phoenician waves. Osborne. I don't know if you've ever seen the Osborne Family Lights, but that's a hell of a show. Got to see that one or no, maybe two times. I can't remember. I've seen it at least once. I might have seen it twice. That Osborne Family Lights. What a show. That's some, whew, that's a crazy thing. Got that's a finial up here. Stoneball finial. Looks like It's interesting. It's got wings, but some like a box or something. That's kind of weird. All right, go play. Go play with one of your 1,000 toys that you got in there. Don't think I don't know about it. Yes. And don't eat nothing of mine. Go play with your toys. Oh, shit. Check out these little cats right here. Those are cool. There's a finial up there. Looks like a cat with wings. I don't know. Strange. And they added these stairs to go up into the, you know, the next floor. Scrubbed cartouche. That's weird. That cartouche is different than that cartouche. That's a like a downspout thing. It's so weird. Got Powerhouse and Grounds Waterworks Park, Detroit. This is interesting. You got the, you know, brick and then the like a limestone or something like that. You know, you got a different. Makes me wonder if about that. You know, the possibility of an orgonite, you know, orgone accumulator kind of thing. It was an interesting idea I heard recently. Big smokestacks for the Powerhouse. Making that steam. That's power. Steam can be turned into power. Can be turned into heat. A lot of things. Promenade and Arlington Hotel, Hot Springs, Arkansas. A lot of Arkansas, right? Don't know how I pulled so much Arkansas, but I did. Who knows? It's the way these things are labeled in the archives that they're not in a very good order. Let's put it that way. Got a ladder link for Douglas. Shout out UAP, who also coined the term vanilla skies. So we can thank him for that. There's their antenna. Wind catcher. Royal Palms, Port of Spain, Trinidad, WI. Oh, look at that wrought iron work. Oh, look at that. That's nice. Huh. Wind catcher. Trees, wild looking. That wrought iron work is something else. That's you know, that's not easy to make. I bet that was very, very pricey. That's a lot of electrical running. Look at all them electrical lines. Interesting. Glass insulators. Used to be able to find those on the ground underneath phone poles when I was little. Of course, we just pick them up and throw them and try to break them. They weren't, a big deal back then. They're pretty rare now. I tell you what, I don't know what it is, but we have had so many ladybugs on the farm this past week. They've been driving us nuts because they'll just jump on you, and all of a sudden you're like, what is that? And it's just crazy how many ladybugs have been around this week. There's Fred right there, another Fred trolley. Got some sort of water source here. Maybe a drinking fountain. There's Fred again. Fred's just all over the place. That's what Fred does. He gets it done. Looks like something poking out of the ground right there. Maybe an arched window. Quite possible. What are you riled up for? Huh? Don't you come over here starting that with me? You walk over here, you go back limping. Got Phoenician shell there. Yeah, just show your ass to the camera. That's what they want to see. Have some coof, would you? My goodness, turn around and face the camera. Don't knock a doggone drink over, you nut, with your big tail, big old flashy tail. What's wrong with you? You going crazy, I think. You want to get up here in my lap, didn't you? This dog loves my lap. He thinks that's his seat. New Atlanta. That's interesting. Got some Mudflood drop in right there. Got the antenna right there. Got something weird going on there. All these little signs right here. That's odd. All right. Where's my drink, you nut? Give me my drink back. You knocked it on the ground. I want it. Quit messing with me. Let's see. Fred right there. Ghost fella right there. Vescapisis. I think that roof has been replaced. I don't think that's an old roof. We got St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Cleveland, Ohio. Got a little Mudflood window right there. Mudflood window right there. Not sure where that box is. It's kind of, that's weird. There's another one. Maybe they're covering up Mudflood winters. I don't know. Another one right there. Kind of odd. Like, your study makes sense. Like, you can do this quality of work, and that's Daddy's. You leave that alone. You about to get the knuckle sandwich. You want a knuckle sandwich? I'll give you the knuckle sandwich. You can do this quality of work, but then you do these little shitty little boxes. I mean, that's a tell right there. Tells me they ain't build that shit. That big ass door. Big ass door. What are you riled up for? What'd you do? Get a dog biscuit? Now you going crazy? Got a dog biscuit in you going cuckoo. Man, that yawn could have swallowed me up. You could have swallowed up Texas with that thing. Yeah, Texas. What are you doing? Okay, all right. Slow your roll. Okay. Got rose winder, portholes, arc light right there. Should need one of them. Got some ether fencing cresting right there. Little Mudflood winters back here in the corner. Ether finial right there. Ether fencing. Almost looks like a pyramid within a circle right there. Fleur-de-lis. Ether finials. Another ether finial for you. Click that atmospheric energy. Probably added this. Changed it out. There's a wind catcher right there. Yeah, this is Cleveland, Ohio, y'all. This isn't Europe. And that's straight out, European right there. That's from the Dark Ages. No, it's no. Look at that. Look at that ether crusty right there. Ether finials, man. Incredible. The detail on that roof. That's just not easy. A wind catcher. Another ether finial. Look at that thing. Reminds me of the squatting man. Wow. Another ether finial. Phew. That one looks a little beat up there. That would be a porthole right there. So they could have opened that and it would have brought in air. Okay, we got the Avenue Hotel, Hot Springs, Arkansas. Another Arkansas. Boy, we're getting into Arkansas tonight. There's Fred right there hanging out, doing what Fred does. Looks like a dog right there. Maybe two. I don't know. Almost looks like goats. Not sure. But look at the building is down in the mud and the streets coming down here. Look at that. Does that make sense? Wow. That's retarded. That's what that is. Why would you just not start the building right here? Why would you just not grade this off and build your building right there? And then what the hell they got going here? Why? Why would you build like that? Like, why? Like, that's just seriously. Why? Oh, I don't have any explanation for why you would build like that. It just doesn't make sense. It'd be different if you had to, but you don't have to do that. You don't have. Why would you build? Why would you start? Yes, you got to go down to you got to get down to hard ground or bedrock. Yes, okay, fine, but why not build your foundation up and then start your building? Why would you build your windows below ground? Why? I wonder if I could find this building today and see what that looks like today, because if that building's there today, that thing is covered over halfway. You know it. I know it. You know it. These guys, they definitely know it. Just weird. There's Fred again, hanging out, doing what Fred does. Fred gets it done. Still ain't found a donkey. Looking for a donkey. Definitely on donkey watch. Ether antenna. Got your rooster up there on top of that one. That's interesting setup back there. All right. Got the Capitol in Washington, D.C. So let's go check out the swamp. Got these beautiful etheric lights there. Got another one more right there. Look at that massive arch right there. It's like Mudflood windows down there. Another massive arch. Look at these steps. These steps just don't even look right. They look like an afterthought. To me, it's an opinion. Torus Fields. Such a big building. At their antenna. Oh, good. They got awnings on it. Now it just looks great. Now that I've seen the awnings, they really set the tone for the building. Really get the tone going. Look at that thing. Good grief. Thing is massive. Wind catcher. Who's that supposed to be? Columbia. Interesting pediment there. Oh, look at them awnings. Porthole there. That's a heck of a building. That's a massive building. The Cathedral Santiago de Cuba. Going back to Cuba again. Got Fred over here. Fred is world renowned, as you know. Old gas lamps here. I bet there's a piece broken off right there, but if that, look at that fleur-de-lis, that's a flat earth asterisk. Diamond symbology. I wonder if they got another one. That was different. Well, look at the size of that door. That's a good 25 feet, 30 feet tall. 25 foot. I'll give it 25 feet. He's, let's say, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. That's a 25-foot door. Looks like they've scrubbed the front of it. Added them across. It's brick underneath. Added them across on this one too. And over here. Added a clock on this one. Looks like probably 4 ones for the Mandela affected folk. Took out the statues out of the niche. Hell, this door is probably 20 feet tall. Got 2 of those. This building's haggard. That thing's been there a while. It's an oldie. The Colony, Yale College. And I first thing that stands out to me is this front yard is very, very muddy. There's a little doggy. I mean, like, seriously, who's the architect on this? Because I'd like to know who they are. I'd like to know who they are, because that right there is shameful. 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 They should be ashamed that they did that. Mudflood windows. That's just not right. I'm sorry. That I can't pass that off. That's Flat Earth Asterix, Torus Field, Diamond Symbology, Porthole, and that just really doesn't, like, you got this wall here. Obviously, it's got a whole floor below. I mean, you know, and they just built a wall up around it. Or maybe that was the outer wall of the building at one point, that, you know, maybe it was an outer gate, like an outer gate wall, maybe, or something. But this is like retarded right here. Whoever did that, the architect, the landscape architect, whoever is responsible for doing this yard, is retarded. They're definitely Ding Fraser Dunn level quality architect. Governor's Palace, San Juan, Puerto Rico. Oh, Fred's here already. He beat us here. Fred's quick. And dude, that suit is bad. Like, you should be highly ashamed of that. That, like, you need to go back and get your mama to redress you, because mama didn't dress you right. I'm just telling you. Just letting you know. Cornucopia. And yes, the Fruit of the Loom underoos had cornucopias on it. I'm telling you. I know it had got the cassidas and the winged business there. Man, look at that. It's like a Roman, it's like the headless knight and the Phrygian cap. There's a lot of symbology on this thing. Got the lion, another cornucopia. Yeah, definitely the Fruit of the Loom had the cornucopia. There's no 100% guaranteed. I remember it. It you know, there's just things that, like, you see. I mean, how many times did you look at the tag in the back of your shirt, you know, just to see this, you know, if it's the right size, or or if it's your shirt, or if it's turned around the right way, or, like, I know I've seen that cornucopia, you know, logo. I know I have. I remember it. That's the way it was. No question. You can't. They can say all they want to that their logo never looked like that, and I know they're liars. 100%, they're liars. There's no question in my mind. And yes, they have already found old clothing with the cornucopia on it, but the you know, the Fruit of the Loom company will tell you, Laurel Leaf Control, that they never, their logo never had that. Look at that wrought iron work right there. That's nice. They will swear up and down that it never had that. That's another, you know, that's another one for me. Definitely. 100% guaranteed. You could never convince me that damn cornucopia wasn't there. You would never be able to do that. Not going to happen. It was 1V. It was a cornucopia, and C3PO was solid gold. I'm telling you, I saw Star Wars in the theater 26 times. 26 times. I know what color C3PO was. And Han shot first. The Gymnasium, Yale College, New Haven, Connecticut. Let's just go there. I don't care what George Lucas says. When you see a movie 26 times in a theater, you kind of know the movie. There's Fred. Beat us here. He's quick. Got Mudflood winners down there. My only problem with Mandela effect is that how in the hell do you actually prove it? And I know people will go, here's the proof. No, because if it was one way and now it's another way, it's difficult at best to really prove that. Like, to somebody that's never seen, it one way, they've never seen that. It's difficult for you to convince them that it ever was that way. It's like Shazam. I remember Shazam. I remember that movie. I'm pretty sure I watched that movie. I'm pretty sure I remember Mandela dying in prison. But I can't prove that. And I know y'all have some, that are on your radar. We all have different ones, I'm sure, but they're flat earth asterisks in case you need that. Need to know where you are. Etheric lights. Oh, look at them gates. Oh my. Those are nice. Coin with a Q. It's weird. They bricked in this side of the building. It's odd. Flat earth asterisks. Unscrubbed cartouche. Wind catcher window. There's wind catcher windows. All these are wind catcher windows, by the way. These are wind catcher windows. You see how they have a pivot point in the center of the window and it opens? That's a wind catcher window. They're different from the windows that open and close, you lift up. They open like this. That's how you know it's a part of the wind catcher system. And there's that weird shield symbol that I still don't have a name for. Still looking for the name on that. So if anybody has got it and they want to, be generous enough to let me know what it is. My biggest Mandela is the candles, the Nirvana MTV video. I haven't heard of that one. That's a new one on me. I don't know about that one. This is the lawn and rotunda of U of VA. And there's that lady's dress right there. Bossa man. Everybody's decked to the nines. And there's new ones all the time. Tourist fields. There's your clock. Clocks are expensive, and it's got 4 ones for you Mandela affected folk, in case you need that. And I'm telling you, it was all IV when I was young. That's what they taught us in school. This is the Feister. Sure what that. The Feister, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I don't know. I guess that's the name of the building. Look at this weird sidewalk made out of wood. How strange is that? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Look at that. There's a person right there. That's a lady in a dress. There's another guy right here. Oh, wow. There's two people right here. And I saw another one here. There's something right here. I can't tell what it is. There's something right here that's been taken out. There's another person right here. Maybe something there. They have definitely manipulated this photo. Oh, wow. I got to add these to my collection. Oh, wow. Some good finds tonight. Tartarian line back there. Look at that. Wow. Some juicy stuff here tonight. Looks like something was manipulated there. Look at that. Look at that barbershop pole. Looks like they've done some manipulation here to this guy. Got a Mudflood drop in there. Fred back here doing his job. Etheric lights. $18.90, maybe. Ether antenna right there with the mercury ball on top. The Moorish look to it. Arc light. Definitely Hotel Pfister. Is that a dragon right there? Maybe. I don't know. Can y'all see the lady in the dress right here? Can y'all see the other people? Oh, you can see it. Okay. Okay. Hippie says she could see it. Isn't that amazing that they can just remove people from history? That's like they're just not there. They were there, then they're not there. You get back, there's no way. You're looking at this picture, there's no way you can tell they're there. Zero. I'm zooming in now, and I see it now that I know. It's like one of those 3D, one of them magic eye pictures. But now I can see it because I have seen it. But if you didn't know, if I didn't point it out to you, y'all wouldn't know it was there. That's how good they were at this. Jeez. These are those Venetian gondolas in Central Park. These are the guys that were running on the gondolas. Boy, he is serious. He is too. They're all those men are the real deal. I don't know about them pants. Them britches is something. I tell you. Looks like they've done some sort of manipulation of this photo. It's kind of weird. Genuine Venetian gondolas propelled by expert gondoliers. Central Park, Grand Lake, 72nd Street. And there's gondolas back there. Kind of interesting. Victoria Hotel, Chicago. Got us a lady in uniform with a dog. Dogs are pretty rare back then. There's Pooper Scooper Man. There's another Pooper Scooper Man. The reason I point those out is because when I started doing the show, a lot of people asked, where's all the poop? Where's all the poop? It was a weird question. It's like I kept getting it. Where's all the poop? And they didn't realize that there was these guys that their job was to, well, clean up the poop. And that's all they did. Because there was so much poop from the horses. I mean, imagine if they didn't have Pooper Scooper Men, like how bad it would be. If you had hundreds and hundreds of horses running down through town. It'd be nasty. Lots of Freds lined up, waiting for a job. Mudflood winders there and there. Possible pavement light right there across the front. Victoria. Taurus Fields. Rothschild. Right there. We know who that sumbitch is. I'd like to take a big old dump on that sumbitch's grave. All of them. Just point them out. I just take a dump on each one. I don't know if it'd do anything, but make me feel better. I know that's horrible. I ain't going to apologize, though. Phoenician shells. At their antenna. Looks like stained glass. Their ether antenna there. There's one of those fire ladders with the fire hose attachment where they could run the water up the pipe and get water to the top of the building. So that was an addition. It would have been added later. Ooh, look at that. Fancy. Misa likes that. Fred back there hanging out. Doing what Fred does. Looking at Phoenician shells over here. Got the unicorn and the lion. Ladies in uniform. Look at that door. Taurus Fields. Telegraph. Look at that plate glass one. That right there. That would have been like. Man. That was not easy to make right there. That glass, that is a big glass. That glass is probably 12 foot by 12 foot, 10 by 10. That's a big damn glass. And whereas we, can make that today, back then that was a big deal. That was no joke to make that. That was no joke to transport that. That was no joke to install that. That right there, that was a secret art. Like they kept that. You had to know somebody to be getting in to learn how to do that. You didn't go get a job making glass and just for shits and giggles. Drew from Army and Navy Hospital, Hot Springs, Arkansas. Back to Arkansas. We love some Arkansas tonight. Got a cannon that didn't shoot, big balls. Don't know what the hell they were. Got some wrought iron work down here. Maybe a water tower. Some other antennas up there. It's a weird little doodad right there. I wonder what that's for. Strange. I don't know. It's a weird spot. I've shown this picture before, but it's always good to revert back to the oldies but goodies. This is one of the best photo manipulations that I've found when it comes to Vanilla Skies and photo manipulation all in one photo. This photo has been shared by everybody once I found it, they got it from me and then showed it on their shows because it was so good. But Mind Unveiled showed this, Conspiracy RS has showed this, but I mean, like, I imagine all the top channels, big channels, have shown this picture because back in the day I found this picture in the archives. But this is the Wayne County building in Detroit, Michigan. So if you really want to show somebody something about Vanilla Sky and photo manipulation, this one right here is like creme de la creme. 100% guaranteed that it is photo manipulated. You can see they did a real botched job on the Vanilla Sky right there. Very choppy. Very, very choppy. Mudflood Winders. Got that weird shield symbol, Taurus fields. But you can see the edges. It was just really poorly done. I don't, they just kind of chopped it off, just really butchered the Vanilla Sky on it. Architectural urns. You can just see how poor of a job they did. But it's there's something about this picture. If you don't know yet, I'll get to it, but there's something else about this picture that's just mind-boggling. There's photo manipulation done there. If you can see that, they've manipulated lines out of the photo. Those aren't cracks in the glass. Those are manipulated lines that have been, they were coming over here. They scratched them off the negative, and then they manipulated them here to make them blend in. That's the wind catcher. And they just really butchered got little obelisk there, scrub cartouches. They really butchered the Vanilla Sky on this thing, but it is a very good one because I love it when they butcher the Vanilla Sky because it makes it so obvious as to what it is. So if you're looking to show somebody Vanilla Sky, okay, this is your picture. If you're looking to show somebody photo manipulation, this is your picture as well. If you most of you have seen this because you watch this show and you're highly educated at this point, but if you haven't seen this picture, there's something in this picture that is very cool. Look at how they've changed these doors over. I mean, that just looks like crap. I don't know what the hell they done there. Just absolutely butchered those doors. And what they have done, one thing that's kind of cool is you got a phone pole going up the side here, and it just disappears, and you got a whole building here that disappears. But that what's really interesting about this picture is, if you know what it is, then it'll blow your mind. If you don't know what it is, go look it up. But in this picture, there is what's called a moon tower, which is a very tall piece of a tower, that went up in the air, and it had these big arc lights on it, and the arc lights would shine down and basically make it look at nighttime. It was like a full moon out at night around the area that it was at, and it was so high that it would basically moonlight an entire area. And there's a few still left. They the ones that are in Texas, brain farting. They went to what's that town? Where's Alex Jones hanging out? Austin. They went, the city of Austin bought them and installed them. But anyways, there's a moon tower right here that they have photo manipulated out. This is the base of the moon tower, and it goes up, and it starts with the structural stuff here and the gear mechanism for running the light up and down. And this is the little platform, but there is a moon tower that they have manipulated out of this picture. And it's right there in front of you, and you don't even notice it. And then it just disappears because they take it out. There is a freaking moon tower. That is like about a half of the moon tower is gone, maybe even 2/3 of the moon tower. It's hard to tell you. But that photo, that one photo is creme de la creme when it comes to old world research. So put that one in your collection. And you can go look this up. It's real easy. Go to it's getting late. Go to the Internet Archives, Library of Congress, Internet Archives, and search Wayne County Building, Detroit, Michigan, and you will find this glass plate negative. All right, we got Zeta Psi Fraternity House, Ann Arbor, Michigan. A lot of Michigan tonight too. I don't know why. Look at the little details right there. That's just pretty. Just something extra. Got a $18.99. That looks like it could have easily been changed out. Well, Mudflood winter, we've added plumbing out there through the hole. That's interesting. Probably a drain for the porch. Mudflood windows all down the bottom. Torus fields. Ether finial. Fraternity sun. Ether antenna with mercury ball. Arched windows back there. And that is all she wrote for this week, ladies and gentlemen. I hope y'all have had a good time, and I hope you've been good. I'm sure that y'all were. Y'all usually are. A good bunch comes up in here. We don't have any riffraff. This is Mount Pisgah behind me tonight. It's I've been to the top of there several times, and that's in the North Carolina mountains. I believe that is an ancient tree, big tree. Get the doodad going right. I just think it's really pretty. I hope you all had a good time, and I'm gonna be. Last week I got finished up the emu house and the cow house run in, and this week I gotta finish out the horse run ins. We're getting them spray foamed and plywood put on the insides. I gotta build barn doors for them, but I'm still working on that. We're going over we're going to build a duck netted atrium thing, like a block wall around as like the bottom container, and then we're gonna put post up in the air and create a netting system so it's protected from predators. And then it's got a big pond in the center of it that we've created that drains natural springs through it, so it'll be self-cleaning. So we're just getting that figured out this weekend, and just think it's kind of weird. So that's kind of what I'm working on this week. I think that's all think that's my plan this week. And so yeah, and I've been working very hard. I don't know how many of you are interested, but I'm on my Charlie Kirk EMT research. I've been working behind the scenes very hard to get that information out to the public and into the mainstream. I am getting very close to that research breaking the surface. It is very close to getting to Candace. I've had quite a few big channels pick up the research in the last week, and people are starting to get wind of this thing. And so I've been working behind the scenes, going in the chats of these big creators that are starting to talk about this, and talking to the people in the chat, talking to the people in the comments section, and getting conversations going. And the more people that are talking about this, the more traction I'm gaining. And so I've been spending a lot of time in chat rooms and comment sections, which, that's pretty daunting, but I've made a lot of progress. And there's some big channels that are starting to get wind of this thing, and starting to catch on. And so at some point, the goal is to get it to, right now, the goal is to get it to Candace, because she seems to be the biggest name that you could get to at this point for this type of thing. And then past her would be mainstream. But I don't know, if how the mainstream is, are they going to give you any truth? I don't know. So right now I'm just hoping to get it to Candace. I'm not saying Candace is all that in a bag of nuts, or that she's, the end all be all, or that she's like the truth or anything like that. What I'm saying is right now she's got the biggest mouth, and that's who I'm looking for. I'm looking for the biggest mouth, the person that can get the most traction for the story. And I'm not looking for credit on it. I'm just looking to get the story. I don't know why this camera's acting weird. I'm just trying to get the story out. And unfortunately, we found out that the EMTs are under gag order, so you can't get an interview out of them. So we circumvent the gag order. You bring it to the surface, and you expose the fact that it happened, and that there were EMTs that had 2 medical bags and 2 medical sling bags, 2 radios, licensed EMTs. That's another thing that I've spent a lot of time adjusting people's thinking. They see these guys, they're young, and they think, oh, they're actors. No, they're not actors. They're licensed EMTs. I have their work history, their school history, their license numbers, their certified on record. I've got the information. They're legit. Now, granted, the problem is that they see these T-shirts that they're wearing, and they think that they're not legit EMTs. They are legit EMTs. I have pictures of them in their legit EMT uniforms. But for that day, I think, from this is just my opinion, but I think they were kind of doing a side kind of gig. They weren't on like their normal duty. It was a special event, and they were allowed to wear a T-shirt as opposed to their normal uniform. It was a hot day, and they just wore their T-shirts. And okay, fine. I don't care if they're wearing sparkly underwear, as long as they're legit. That's what I care about. I've also been doing research into the legalities of what happened there, and from the best I can tell you, the EMTs and the security teams broke the law when it comes to what they did. That the EMTs were to take over because they visually saw the patient in trauma. The patient couldn't deny care for themselves, but they visually saw that the patient needed help. They did not provide help, and they did not take over the situation and take control of the patient until a medical doctor could relieve them, that they are liable for their actions in that case. And then the security team denying them the ability to help Charlie Kirk is illegal, because they don't have the legal authority to deny medical care. That the EMTs actually have the legal authority above the security team in this case. So basically what I'm saying is, it looks like both parties broke the Utah laws when it comes to not allowing the EMTs to do their jobs. And then a lot of people have said, well, it doesn't matter, he was already dead. Yes, it does matter. It absolutely does matter. Their job, whether you think he was dead or whether you think he wasn't dead, or even if you think he was, it was a staged event, it doesn't matter. Their job is to take control of the situation, to provide medical care, stabilize the patient, get them to the hospital, and do everything in their training, in their powers, to try to revive and keep that person alive, anything they have to get them to a medical doctor before they can release. And none of that happened. And it does not matter if he died instantly. If it mattered, riddle me this, Batman, why did Frank Turek give CPR to Charlie Kirk all the way to the hospital? If he was already dead and it didn't matter, why did he do that? Number one. Number two, for 30 minutes after he arrived at the hospital, supposedly the surgeons worked on Charlie. Why did they do that? If it didn't matter, if he was already dead. Well, then you got, okay, well, it could be a staged event and he's not dead. Fine. But why are the EMTs not allowed to help? The EMTs are the smoking gun, y'all. The EMTs are the smoking gun. I'll see you next week. Love, Biggs.
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
In the heat of battle, he don't miss.
No.
In the heat of controversy, he don't miss.
No.
It's a mystery! It's a mystery wrapped in a riddle inside an enigma! Don't you get it?
Say woof again! Say woof again!
I've got one that can see.
Welcome to the underground.
This is my kung fu, and it is strong.
See you later.